They have taken their expertise and passion into the community and brought the community into the university with truly meaningful impact.
Every day we come up with a new idea of how to work together.
Well, to know Shailene is to love her. She's one of the kindest and most gentle people I've ever met in my life. One of the things that makes Shailene special is her ability to work both with First Nations communities and with Métis communities. More than 30 Indigenous community organizations in Alberta.
I grew up with conversations about governance related to Indigenous communities. The real long-term hope is that we establish really respectful, reciprocal, long-term relationships with Indigenous communities.
She doesn't seem to have an ego. She definitely sees her role to build relationships with community, and her work formed part of the backbone that the Métis Nation of Alberta used to build their new governance structure and became who they were when they signed the agreement with the federal government.
The University of Alberta is on Indigenous lands, and so we at the University of Alberta have a responsibility to really find out what Indigenous communities want from the university.
She really is a unicorn because she can do this in a way that very few other people I've ever met can do.
This partnership started through a research grant about maternal health in immigrant and refugee populations. A lot of the women we were working with didn't have food for today. A third of their kids were going a whole day without eating. What we decided on was a food rescue program.
Whether those be cafes, restaurants, grocery stores. So this is excess food that is still perfectly edible, and we redirect it to places such as the multicultural health brokers and other service agencies across the city. Fresh Roots really overall goal is to increase access to nutritious and affordable food in a dignified way.
Now we're providing weekly hampers to ethnocultural minority families with extreme chronic poverty.
Really using the power that we have as academics with resources, with students, and our partners have different resources and different communities. And when you bring both of those assets together, you can really make things happen.
WISE stands for Women in Scholarship, Engineering, Science and Technology. And it's an organization that was created back in 1982. It starts at a young age, girls who are 11, 12 years old, but it goes all the way through to women who are practicing and working in their careers.
We want to push them past just that having fun with science to really having students think about what their career could look like, what their education could look like, and getting them to think bigger questions. What we stand for and what we work towards is to understand the barriers that exist for underrepresented groups to find their path in a STEM education and STEM careers. One of the big barriers is the intimidation factor that university holds for people. So by bringing them to campus, introducing them to undergrad, grad students, faculty through hands-on experience activities, all of a sudden these students get to see themselves maybe a few years down the road and say, that could be me.